It's a Friday, and that means it's time for the standard Q&A here on the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Mumble King, and joining me is my Friday co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Yeah, buddy, we're here. It's Friday, and we're going to rock some questions and answer them. Because, how do you rock questions? I don't know, but we do it on this show, I think.
I like to think so, at least.
Yeah. I mean, we have nothing else to rock, so without the questions, we'd have no content, so.
Where did these questions come from today, sir?
These all come from our Discord chat. Some of these are dating back by a while, so finally going to get caught up on at least some of them. So thanks for your patience, guys. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into this one with a question from Awesome Cakester. What if the Super Emeralds never left and instead they became the standard Chaos Emeralds after what Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles did for them in Sonic 3 and Knuckles by bringing some order to the Emeralds, and Hypersonic was brought on by Sonic tapping into that wild chaos energy it took to transform the Emeralds to the state they are now?
That sounds like a theory. A fan theory.
Thanks for listening.
No, that's pretty
it.
much just fanfic. I can't really answer that.
That's it, yeah. Well, now you can't use that idea ever.
Well, I can't use the Super Emeralds. They're gone.
They're not gone. They're in Sonic 3 and Knuckles. They're right there.
And in Mania, they're all dead and cracked. They're gone.
You're gone.
No, Kyle. I am here, and I am now.
You are eternal. You are... Yeah. To the delight of some and to the horror of others, you are eternal and will never leave. Good. Here's a question from Jib. I'm curious if there's a reason why Tails was so snippy in Lost World. I couldn't find a detail myself to explain it, as it felt like it came out of nowhere. So I was curious if you guys knew why he did.
I've heard a rumor that it was explained that it was Tails showing his first signs of going through puberty. But
okay.
I can't find a link to verify that anywhere. So I take it with a big old grain of salt. I think it was just he was written snarky in that particular game.
He's snarky sometimes.
Sometimes, but in Lost World he was a little snarkier than usual.
Yeah, he was.
A trifle more snark than your standard.
Yeah, it's pretty funny though. I'm kind of okay with that, honestly. It's pretty funny. It was all right. I like having a snippy Tails. He knows he's smarter than Sonic. Good for him. Here's a question from Gabsam. Hi, Ian. I have noticed you were saying lately, quote unquote, I have to review it / play the game again to see if it X when you were asked if a game is canon. What do you mean by that? Were you provided a list by SEGA, or are you giving an answer with your own interpretation?
I don't remember saying that about game canonicity. I think it's more about details within the games.
Yeah.
And that's more of me just covering my ass because I don't remember every single detail. And, this is a Q&A show. My answers are kind of held to a higher scrutiny than just any average answer.
How dare you?
So I don't want to just say, of course it's this, and then somebody goes, actually, here's the timestamp to prove that you don't remember that right at all, and, egg on my face. So,
as if that doesn't happen enough already.
If I'm not 100% sure on something, or I feel like I really could stand to review it again, that's what I mean. Like, I don't want to say, yes, this is the answer, and then you trot it out and someone goes, actually, Ian's factually wrong here. And then we both look dumb. So that's what I mean by I want to review it again. I want to know I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about.
Meanwhile, I can just say whatever I want and nobody cares. It's perfect. I like it. I'm in good shape over here. Nobody cares. I do get actually sometimes, but not a big deal when I do it. It's not a big deal when I do it. Nobody cares. Nobody actually cares. And I'm okay with that, honestly.
if you want to drive up our metrics, how about you actually us down in the comments below? Let's see how many actuallys we can get on this episode.
Oh no, now you've done it. Oh no, now the comments will have a field day because this is their bread and butter, man. This is what they do. Here's a question from Ty Cyan. Hey Ian, first question, so bear with me. We know Surgeon Kit's designs are based off of glitch character sprites from the classic Sonic games, Ashura and Blue Tails, respectively. This begs the question. Say if Starline makes another cyborg based on Knuckles. Would the design be based on another glitch sprite? If so, who would it be? Some food for thought. I thought of Wrinkles the Otter might be a good candidate, though it's not a glitched sprite. Starline is the glitched sprite, technically, but...
That's the thing.
But
he is the Knuckles glitch.
But it's not exactly.
We can't do other echidnas, too.
Mm.
I feel like Rankles the Otter is in the spirit of that kind of nonsense. So in theory, he'd fit. But number one, those feet would have to be redesigned. No. And two, I honestly don't know if that would be a legal issue because it wasn't a SEGA creation. It was, what game magazine was it in? Game Informer?
I don't know, one of those.
Anyway. The point is, it was a goof made by an independent publisher. Yeah, it was Sonic derivative, but it's their creation. So I don't know if we'd actually be able to use it. There might be a copyright thing on it.
Yeah.
But that's getting too in the weeds. You weren't asking about Rankle specifically. You were asking in general. I can't think of any particular Knuckles glitches off the top of my head that would be worth mining. I mean, Blue Knuckles is there, I guess, but Starline is the Knuckles glitch when you get down to it. And I feel like after Surgeon Kit, we could do another, horribly tragic cyborg character, but I feel like that would just kind of be redundant at this point. I feel like we've explored the idea with Surgeon Kit enough, and now they're growing into their own characters. You could retread that old ground. I'm sure you could find more to do with it, but I don't know. It's not the first thing I'd want to do if Starline were to come back from the grave.
Mm-hmm. So, looking it up, Rankles is from the UK SEGA magazine, and that is an officially licensed magazine from SEGA.
Okay.
So maybe it would fall under that. It was published by EMAP, but it would be licensed from Sega. So it could fall under Sega's purview. So who knows?
Maybe. But I also know that Sonic the Comic is kind of a litigation minefield for the way its rights and ownership of character creation is. So
yeah,
I don't think anyone would really be willing to go to court over Rankles, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, considering some of the other things that people have gone to court over for in this franchise, why not?
Why not?
Whatever.
In for a penny, in for a rankle.
Yeah, pretty much. What I do know is Lemon Yuri has a question. If a character in the Sonic world wanted to describe the size of something, would they use the metric system or the American system? Excuse you, it's the Imperial system, thank you very much. Oh wait, no, that's slightly different.
When I write stuff, I try to use metric to educate the children's and to promote using the metric system because it is the better system. And it's more universally recognized, but
you've been in Canada for too long.
No, this comes from like grade school science class.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to learn the metric system. It's like, why aren't we always using this?
Yeah, because we think we're better or something. No, because England. That's why, really.
But that's my personal approach. I don't know if there is like an official stance on Sega's side to say what unit of measurement to use.
I mean, it was a Japanese product made for a Western audience, so it could go either way.
I'm pretty sure in like one of the Game Gear games you can cross the signs and it registers your speed in kilometers per hour, but
probably. I don't know. Something
Tails'
like
name isn't in the metric system, so
yeah, but it's
maybe
a
it's
fun
an X.
pun. It's a fun pun. I don't know. Maybe there's maybe regions of the world have different systems that they use, just like real life. What?
Oh, here we are in Empire City. Got to go back to miles per hour.
Meanwhile, Tails is just like, face palm. And we got a question here from Amagali. Hello, Mr. Flynn. Did you plan to the death of Starline since the very beginning, or was it something you came to sometime after?
I think we touched on this in a recent episode, but this might be an older question, so...
It is, and also I don't remember.
Well then, Kyle. It wasn't the original idea from the get-go, but it was the natural progression of things.
Mm-hmm.
As we explored Starline's character, as things kind of fell into place, it's like, well, this is inevitably ending in a train wreck.
Yeah.
The light at the end of the tunnel is going whoop whoop. So
okay, but do you remember the specific time or anything around when that was? You were thinking that
the minute Starline started thinking he could do better than Eggman.
Yeah.
When he went from the transition of Eggman can do no wrong to I can do Eggman better, that sealed his fate.
Okay.
The minute he thought he could step to the man and outdo him,
mm-hmm.
the Shinigami was writing his name down very slowly in the Death Note, just like, oh, this is going to be fun.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Pretty much. Here's a question from Majo Bunny 3. What is each of your favorite magical girl series? Things like Sailor Moon, Madoka Magica, Cardcaptor Sakura. I realize this might not be your go-to genre, but as a dedicated fan of it, I'm always curious to other people's experiences with it. Or, if it's easier to answer, your favorite series that's primarily aimed at female audiences?
I have an appreciation for Sailor Moon, but I haven't really watched a ton of it.
Same, yeah.
I tried to watch Crystal when it was coming out, but their whole shtick of we're going to pump out the episode as fast as possible and then actually animate it for the DVD, it didn't win me over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to watch the bad version and catch it up on it again with the good version. Madoka Magica is the Evangelion of this kind of genre, and I liked it a lot. I've only seen the original series. I haven't seen any of the stuff that came after. And from what I've heard, I kind of want to keep it that way. I liked the way that it told its story. And the only bit of Cardcaptor I saw was Leah and I watched a new installment in the series, which was the next step in the series, and there was a kind of Alice in Wonderland theme to it, and the whole thing was very slow-paced slice of life, and then there'd be this one episode of intrigue. The gear would turn, something would happen, there would be an implication. It's like, ooh, where is this going? Okay, slow burn. All right, fine, here we go. What's going to happen? And it ended. That was the end of the series. To be continued in the manga or something. It's like, why? Why do you do this to me?
Yeah.
And the other one that I haven't sat down and like read it yet, but Aaliyah's told me enough of it that I virtually know how it goes, is Yona of the Dawn.
That's not magical, girl.
She's kind of magical.
No, she's not.
She's the reincarnation of God.
No power.
She has the power to move you. And the question is for female audiences, and Yona is in a primarily female geared series or collection. What do you call it? What are those magazines called?
Not
it's like Shonen Jump, but it's more geared for female readers.
Is that,
and
I don't want to get it wrong and look like an idiot, even though I do that all the time on this show. But
yeah, comment below to tell us why we're dumb.
Yeah,
and what the actual name of this is. But like most of the stories in these magazines,
Shoujo,
are like slice of life. Shoujo, thank you.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Shoujo.
Thank you, Discord chat for setting us right. Yes, yeah,
you know,
that's what I was gonna say, and just be like, oh, I don't want to be wrong, and well, I would have been right, but it would have been completely coincidental. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Like most of the stories in these are relationship dramas and slice of life stuff, and not my cup of tea. But Yona is about political intrigue and seasons of war, and yeah, she's the central character surrounded by very pretty boys, but those very pretty boys have badass superpowers, and there is a lot of very violent things going on in there because this is war, man.
Mm-hmm.
The Five Dragons do not hold back. It can be cute, it can be fluffy, it can be funny for sure. And then you read Zeno's backstory and it will break your heart every single time. Damn it. Just it's weird because I feel like if this was in like Shonen Jump or another magazine, it would be bigger than it is. And it's got a decent enough following to be sure. It's the star of its particular magazine, but I don't feel like it's got like the mainstream attention that it really deserves because it's good, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like it moves at a good clip. There's interesting characters. The art style is fun. Hack is a freaking boss. Like the boss of bosses. Just, oh my god. Like the whole thing it's good. And what little anime adaptation there is fairly faithful and holds up pretty well, even though it's slightly older. So yeah, if you're interested, look up Yona of the Dawn.
I know very little about it, but I know Slayers is pretty popular, and that's kind of different in that it's more of a fantasy medieval style sort of thing instead of a slice of life sort of show. So I don't know. That seems kind of interesting. I mean, Lena Inverse is kind of a legendary character in her own right. So I didn't even realize Slayers was considered a magical girl series, but apparently it is. I don't think it's still going or anything. I think it's been gone for a while, but yeah, that's the only thing I can think of. Otherwise, like magical girl adjacent stuff, like westernized things, like, I don't know, Powerpuff Girls, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly inspired by.
Yeah, between the superhero inspiration and the sort of magical girl inspiration, it's kind of gone the same way. So, yeah, I'm not super familiar with most of them, though. So, I mean, I've heard of the names, at least, of quite a few of them, but I've not, haven't really read or watched any of them. Sorry to say. Here's a question from Madeline Bluestar 7. I'd love to see SEGA make a crossover in a game, animation, and or comic where the Vocaloids Miku, Luca, Rin, Len, Mako, and Kato adventure with Sonic and friends. Do you both have ideas of stories that this could be? Also, do you both have any favorite Vocaloid characters and songs?
I have like a passing understanding of Hitsune Miku and all that. I find it fascinating in terms of the fandom that it has generated, that the way that they're treated as actual celebrities, and the holographic live shows that they do are astounding. Like, that's just mind-boggling that they have created this, like, it's like borderline AI, synthetic life form, Sure, she's not independent in any capacity. It's all programming, but, she's there live, performing for real people in real time.
Performing for you. If you know the words, you can join into... Anyway, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Beyond that, I don't really know a ton about the series. There's a couple of songs here and there that I've heard. I'm looking at my playlist now for music go-tos, and it's like, I know I have a couple saved. It's like, let's see, Weekender Girl, I think. And what is this one? World's End Dance Hall, if that's the name.
World's End Dance Hall, yeah. That's the big that's a big popular one, yeah.
Okay. But yeah, those just rock. Those are just good. That's good music.
I like the classic Sega remixes with Vocaloids in the Hatsune Miku games. I appreciate that, It gets some classic Sega in there with the weird, funky world of Vocaloids going on too. My personal favorite, probably only because she sang a Daytona one, so I mean that's my I'm biased in that, but I'm gonna say my favorite is Luca.
Do you know if like they have an overarching plot line to them, or if it's just like they have their personalities that they?
I don't actually know. I think it's just
Okay.
personalities. I think it's just like just kind of like they're more of a brand than a
It's
story-driven
so weird.
property. But yeah, I get it. They're idols, so they're just.
I mean, that's what it is. They're a brand, but they're also idols. They just skate that line between product and person,
Right.
and it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, Nintendo kind of was trying to do the same thing with the Squid Sisters too. So,
and it works.
It does work.
Those concerts are great.
Yeah, I know, they're awesome. The background performers are freaking excellent on those too.
As for a crossover between Sonic and the Vocaloid stuff, I'd have to have a better understanding of the Vocaloids. But if they're fairly independent of story, they could just potentially show up as themselves in a Sonic adventure. Like whether you treat them as people within Sonic's world or lean into the digital aspect of them, you could do either, I guess.
I think it would be fun,
but I don't know.
I mean, Sega's doing the games, so there's some connection there. Could happen. Maybe it could happen. Yep. Who knows? I know very little about the Vocaloids, other than first of all, the technology of them is fascinating. Just the being able to recreate voices digitally like that it's a little scary, but it's also really cool. All right, here's a question from D Gamma. Man, I can't wait for the next episode of Tales Tube to come out and it gets revealed that the name of Sonic's world is Morbius, and then the camera zooms out to reveal the giant desiccated corpse of Morbius, the no longer living vampire that everyone is living on. Because as we all know, the post-credit scene of the movie was that he gets ejected into deep space after he said, "It's Morbin time," and proceeded to morb all over the camera. That's exactly what happened.
I'm not seeing a question mark in that wall of text.
That's what happened, though. I mean, I can't.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't. You can't. There is no question mark because it cannot be argued, Ian. You can't argue with this. That's why there's no question mark.
I guess I can't really answer anything that can't be questioned. How can I?
You can't morb all over this. It's already been morbed over.
Well, it has raised a degree of morbid curiosity on my part.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing it's Morbin time then. We're back. We got a question from John the Real Waluigi to kick things off for the second half. Is Cream and her family still considered part of the main Sonic continuity? Is there any chances we'll get to see her in the spotlight again in a future title or further down the line in the IDW comics?
Yeah, Cream's still part of modern Sonic, and she'll show up in the comics where it makes sense. In the main series? You mean the games? I don't know. I don't control that.
Yeah. All right, here's a question from Yami M. Confirm or deny this rumor. Ian, did you write a Teletubbies and Sonic SatAM crossover fanfiction, and why can't I find it anywhere?
Short answers, yes, and don't. Long answer.
Okay.
Years ago, we're talking in the before times.
Uh-huh. Well, before what, exactly?
Before I had any damn sense at all.
Before you were working on this professionally, I assume.
Yeah. I was babysitting my baby brother over the summer, and he had this VHS tape. This tells you how far back this was, okay? This was VHS stuff.
Uh-huh.
He had this VHS tape of like 4 episodes of Teletubbies off of PBS, and that's all he wanted to watch. Do you want to go play? No. Do you want to, play with toys, build with blocks, color a page, go outside, chase the cat, anything? No. We had to watch Teletubbies.
Ian, and this is what children do.
I know.
This is what we did. We watched things over and over.
we could fit about 5 or 6 viewings of this tape in a day for 3 months.
Incredible.
I could recite those episodes verbatim, Kyle. And I came to have a new appreciation for Teletubbies because it was written for the wee ones, sure, but they knew that there would be parents and older siblings forced to watch this as well. So there was a degree of snarky British humor in there.
Oh, of course.
stuff that would go over the little ones' heads entirely. Like there's one bit where this pipe pops out. The whole thing was a surreal mess anyway. Like this whole pipe rises out of the ground and has a speaker in it, and it goes 4 4 4 4, sing a song of 4, and there's 4 flowers, or there's 4 clouds, or there's 4 whatever. And the first time, all the little Teletubbies are like, "Yay, 4 whatevers, yeah!" And they go walking off to the next prompt. And then about the 4th time through or so, they're getting tired of it. Like they're legitimately eyeing the pipe with disdain, and they're looking amongst each other like, "Oh, here we go again." It's like, yeah, 4 4. So finally the pipe comes up and sings the song, and they all look amongst each other and they go, "Run away, run away, run away," and they just book it into the hills. They flee until they're in this open meadow of absolutely nothing, and they start cheering and dancing. They're free, and the pipe rises up, and they stop and they look, and it says 4 Teletubbies, 4 4 4 4, sing a song 4, and they start clutching at their heads and fall to the ground screaming, "No, no!"
You're probably describing this funnier than the actual show is.
Well, you know, the trauma may have made it a little funny in retrospect, but that's where my mind was at. And I was a big Sonic fan, so I thought, hey, let's challenge ourselves.
Uh-huh.
How would this work? And it's been a long time. Maybe it worked out. Maybe it was a decent read. I don't know. But it was old. It's amateurish. It's a crack crossover of any kind. So I'm not really beholden to finding it again. It probably floats out there in the ether of the internet. Nothing's gone forever. So, you know, if you want to hunt it down, happy hunting. But I'm not going to make it easy for you.
That's also your reaction to our questions, clutching your head and screaming. And there's a reason in subcultures 4 means death. Thanks, Lee, for that one. Oh man, it's good. It's good. I think that when this question got asked, it did get linked, so it's out there.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it exists. So you're welcome.
If you find it and you read it, leave a review down in the comments below. Let us know if it was at least entertaining.
I mean, it's just whatever, man. It's fanfic. Who cares? Stupid stuff. It happens. Here's one from Joey the Sonic fan. Ian, since the original Archie Sonic universe was ended before they could be introduced, what would the NERB Freedom Fighters have been like personality-wise? Would they have acted just like the novel Freedom Fighters they were based on? Like the NERB with spiky blue hair acting like Sonic? And would the blue-haired NERB have seen Sonic as his role model?
The NERBs were going to be just one big lampoon of Sad AM. You know, one part nostalgia, remember how it was, and one part, let's not take this too seriously and be goofy with it.
Yeah, it's good to me.
I imagine the Sonic NERB would actually be like super old school, bratty 90s Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd just be too cool for Sonic. Oh, so like, you're ripping on my style, huh? Whatever. Top worlder.
Freaking NERBs. Hey. Here's one from Fang. My question is, when writing the My Little Pony and Transformers Friendship in Disguise and Magic of Cybertron comics, did you have to watch Friendship is Magic to plan how to write the comics? And are the comics canon to the show itself? If so, where in the series does it take place? Oh no, the canon questions are spreading from Sonic to other properties you've worked on. No!
Now, if you're sitting there going, wait, there was a My Little Pony Transformers crossover? I missed it? Have no fear. Head over to BumbleKing.com and go over to the Bumble Comic Shop, and you can get a signed copy of both trades. Available now.
Ooh.
I did watch a little bit. Most of the My Little Pony stuff I watched was research for the other miniseries I wrote for them, which was in continuity to the comic, the Feats of Friendship arc, which is also over at the comic shop. Go please, I need to get these boxes out of my house, buy them. So a lot of that was fresh in my mind. And this was already kind of a surface level thing. It was more of a for funsies story. So mostly what I needed was the archetypes for the ponies and the Transformers G1 cast. We didn't really need to go super deep on the lore. So I did my due diligence. I did some research on both franchises, but I didn't super wiki dive on either for my handful of small stories. As for continuity within the pony continuity itself, that's a bigger question for the editors and lead writers on that and the showrunners. I don't know. I don't think so, but who knows? Point is, I got to write a story where Grimlock and Spike team up, and that was just fun.
You didn't binge all the series, both series on Netflix just to write this one story, Ian? What? How dare you?
Look, the reason why the Dinobots show up is because I've got that one episode committed to memory, because we had that on VHS. And that was one episode. Do you know how many times you could watch that in a summer?
A lot. I mean, I've done that with many things. I had a VHS tape of 4 Mario Super Show cartoons that I did that with, and some Adventures of Sonic tapes that I did that with too, just watching them over and over and over and over and over and over. Yeah. Dimensional Duellatrix Draco has a question. In Silver's future, during the Metal Virus saga, everything had become metallic due to the virus, and in an earlier question, the reason why Silver never got infected was because the metal virus in his timeline wasn't as effective. My question is that whether or not the Deadly Six were still around on Sonic's world during Silver's time, because the Deadly Six members are all a century old, with Zeke being 10 centuries old, or did they simply leave the planet after spreading and infecting all of Sonic's world?
I imagine that eventually the Chaos Emerald's power wasn't enough to protect them anymore. The virus mutated enough to get them as well, that they slowly succumbed to the same thing that they spread all over the planet. So, yeah, everybody suffered. Everyone was destroyed.
Alrighty.
Except they really deserved it.
Here's a question from Les. When it comes to Shadow's character, do you believe he is or could be just as fun or compelling of a character after leaving his past behind? Similar to Future Trunks or Silver in a Good Future, do you think a character could be interesting after resolving their central conflict and continuing afterward? Would it depend on the severity of their arc?
It depends on what their motivation is. What is it that they are striving to do? And in Sonic, the simpler, the better. Sonic's central theme is freedom. Freedom of movement, freedom of exploration, freedom to be who he is, freedom to eat all the chili dogs he can get his hands on. It's ensuring the freedom of others by fighting off tyrannical overlords like Eggman or whatever.
Would you say he is a freedom fighter?
One who fights for freedom, you might say, yes. Free is the wind and all that.
Fascinating.
So that central theme is real easy to extrapolate into a bunch of different ways and different applications. Shadow's previous driving factor of being unsure of his past and searching for a direction is fine, but that's, resolved. He's moving forward, so he needs a new direction. And right now, that direction is defeat powerful foes, which is simple, sure, but it's not conducive to a really compelling ongoing narrative unless you are continually creating adversaries for him to face.
It's too simple.
And then the onus falls on making the adversaries interesting.
Yeah.
And then Shadow defeats them, and then we move on to the new adversary. It's not as sustainable as Sonic, which is go anywhere, do anything. I liked it better when he was more kind of a grim protector type of thing. If it's, protect the weak, and he, being the ultimate life form with that bit of an ego, thinks just about everyone is weak. Wherever he goes, whatever adversity he faces, then he would be spurred to action. It doesn't have to necessarily be a strong foe every time. it could be, stopping that avalanche, or I can't think of everything off the top of my head, but it would give him a little more flexibility. And Silver is protecting others. He goes back in time to save the future, to protect everyone in that time. But once that's resolved, he still wants to protect everyone else. That's why he keeps coming back in time, is to continue that protection. So whether you have him stuck in the future or transplant him back into Sonic's era, he's still earnest and good and wants to protect others. And that's fighting robots, that's environmental dangers, that's him learning how to do things in a more mundane setting. And personality-wise, he's a innocent little cinnamon roll, so you can have lots of fun with that. And it gives him the versatility to do other things. Like with Future Trunks, we won't get into all the stuff that Super did with the character, but once he returns to his own time, he's now like the champion of Earth. He is the greatest fighter Earth has to offer. So what does he do to protect that world from the threats that we know come later on in Z? Or what does he do to help rebuild humanity now that they are no longer being ravaged by the androids? Once you resolve a central conflict for a character, if that's not the end of the story, there are ways to open them up to new avenues, but you need to find that motivator and keep it fairly simple, unless you're going to build a dedicated full arc to it.
Mm-hmm. See, this is the reason why I say Shadow should have stayed dead. Not because I dislike the character or anything. It's just because they really can't figure out what to do with him. And he's just kind of there. Like, he can't keep fighting exponentially more powerful foes. You can only go so far with that. And you have to make it more interesting than that.
See, for me, his story in 06 was the most interesting of the three.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mephiles does that whole temptation on the hill thing and says, look, the minute that something goes bad, you get blamed for it and sealed away. And Shadow's response is, well, screw you. I'm still going to do my own thing. I'm still going to fight against your evil and anything that comes in my way. And around him, you had, Rouge, who says, who is very selfish as an individual, saying that she would stay by his side. And you have Omega, who has a moment of, I am the one who takes you out in the future, but now I'm standing by you because of time travel shenanigans to continue the fight. It's a very interesting dynamic between the three of them that I really wish was followed up on. And it kind of falls into that grim protector role of Shadow that I was talking about earlier. I feel like that would be a very nice contrast to Sonic, but
yeah,
that's me here and now. That's not anything else.
Mm-hmm. There's an interesting one in the chat, actually, where like the argument is that everyone else is kind of there. Why does Shadow have to have a goal to justify his existence? And I mean, yeah, sure.
Well, Tails has his goal. He aspires to reach Sonic's level.
Yeah.
Amy is nebulous at the moment, but she has this kind of running theme of being supportive of others and kind of bringing them back from their darkest moments. Knuckles, we all know Knuckles. He guards the frickin' emerald.
Yeah. Yep.
Rouge is a spy who likes gems. She wants to acquire material wealth, and she will do various things to achieve that goal. Everybody's got a fairly simple motivate. The Chaotix want to pay their light bill.
Even though there's
it's
no
all
money.
Very simple. And
I'm not doing this to annoy you, Ian. I'm doing it because Sega has annoyed me by saying it. That's why. Omega's motivation is kill worthless consumer models. That's pretty much it. That's it. It's a great motivation. That should be Shadow's motivation too, really. Murder. It's good motivation. And we got a question here from DK. In the original plans for the Shadowfall arc in the Archie Sonic comics, Black Doom and Mephiles the Dark were going to be the antagonists before Sega scrapped the idea. How did Mephiles come back if he was supposed to be erased from existence at the end of Sonic 06?
I feel like I had figured out a loophole through some timey-wimey rigmarole that he managed to survive. I don't remember now exactly what it was. Maybe it was that, he can make copies of himself, so he made one copy of himself and threw it off into time as a backup, or because Iblis still technically exists sealed inside of Blaze, there was some kind of, I don't remember. I did have a legitimate reason. It may not have been airtight, but I do remember I had a reason at the time.
Time Eater, maybe. Could have worked. I don't know if that would have been something that would have done it in the comics, but I don't know.
Although I'm still convinced Time Eater is like the leftovers of Solaris, but we've talked about that in the past.
Oh, well. Maybe someday we'll see me files again. Here's a question from T-Cos. If Genesis hadn't been in the cards, what would have caused the awakening of Nogus's past selves?
Oh, wow. I think it would have just been part of Nogus's slow decay anyway. I think. It's been a long time since I've had to think about that.
I don't know.
Or maybe it was the use of the Chaos Emerald in general was messing with him?
I thought it was something like that, yeah. I don't know. But we're at the final question for this week, and it comes to us courtesy of Tick Tick. Agent Stone, Dave the Intern, and Dr. Starline have 1 year to plan and execute the greatest schemes to prove they are the best egg lackeys. Who comes out on top and delivers the best chance at world domination / defeating Sonic?
So Dave starts off really motivated, but then he's got multiple short shift jobs and he ends up getting distracted and he never really manages to find time.
Yeah, and the motivation, the motivation while working in a retail dead end job like that, it dries up quickly. So, yeah.
Starline would go off the grid to plan out his meticulous Machiavellian plan. It would be so brilliant, exquisitely executed. He's a genius, and that's when he gets nuked by Eggman and Agent Stone, because Agent Stone's plan is to just work beside Eggman the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
Just stay right there, provide beverages on command, be the worthwhile lackey that he knows he's supposed to be, and when the year's coming up, he's like, "Hey, boss, I have it on good authority that Starline said something bad about your mustache." Boop, he wins.
I feel like Orbot would get kind of displaced by Agent Stone. I'd feel kind of bad for him.
Orbot knows that the more that Agent Stone does, the less he has to do.
Okay, I guess that's true. Okay, he doesn't feel so bad about it then, I guess.
I mean, sure, he has this huge list of responsibilities that will make him look just so impressive in the doctor's eyes. Oh, what's that? Agent Stone, you want to help? Here's the itemized list and the due dates.
Thank you, Sycophant. Your admiration is inevitable.
And see, Orbot would love it because he tried to pawn off his duties to Cubot, but Cubot bungles them, which ends up making more work for him.
Yeah.
Stone is greatly efficient. He can rely on Stone. Good old Stone. He's happy to serve Stone.
He's got a lot of motivation. Endless bounds of motivation. He's great. Fantastic. I really love when the insertion of him into classic Sonic. It's so good.
Oh man, the sprites and the designs, they're great.
Yeah, like putting him in Mania Adventures and the cutscenes and stuff. It's so good. Man. So much fun. But the fun must end, and the fun ends now. The fun is over.
Sadly we must. But before we do, let's give a big thank you to all our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Big thank you to Daniel H., Alex P., James K., John B., Jennifer R., Robotnik Holmes, Samuel P., Sam Cybercat, Mike B., Dave M., Coupling Crew 128, Do As Diz Din, Andrew D., Salute Your Cat, Jay Frost, Hero of Light 13, Scruffy Matt, Chris A., Ryan D., Sonny, John M., Nunny, Jib, Don B., Yami M., Lee H.K., Lisa M., Fiona M., Chevelle, Invade Turbo Tunis, Ben W., Blue Title Gamer, Tick Tick, Keeper of Monsters, Xanderoni the Painter, Axis, Final Neil, Jonathan D., Scurvy Pirate Hog, Nimric, Solaris Stain, The Name is X, Godzilla, Dabbler the Dalek, Chaos Universe, Sonic Legacy, Daniel B., Ava Arctic, Pedantic Cat, Dove, Red the Supernamic, Quagglegaggle, Chad, Professor Rye, Cameron H., Jennifer H., Arc Fighter, Les, Nondel, Sapphire Scarletta, Jack the Animator, Preston M., Alphamon or Yukon, Noah S., Kojiro Highwind, Alex GS, Supersonic Fan, Awesome Cakester, Radry, Chase L, Finest Cacophony, Red W, Knights Yubel, Just a Mountain Soul, Callum Q, Jolene B, Joshua S, Megawatt, Ty H, Maddie H, John the Real Waluigi, N Tails, Triplets Born, The Throne Awaits, KJB, N Zephyr, DeRusival, Owen BD, Dapper Shinks, The Marble Gardener, T Ranger, For Sonic Fan, Lewis J, Lemur Chicken, Agent Kaz, Starlight Sec, Wild 48, Navari, Exidel, Michael P, Ty Cyan, Rhythm Raccoon, Miles the Prower, Fenris Asger, Pap, Delta God 77, Miggy Sawdust, Pig Dan 20, Jinx, Jamal S, Lacey M, Unlikely Veronica, Cosmic Cooking Hunter 77, Oz Jam, Shimmy M, Angela V, Phi, Spiral Warrior, Thievius, Smiley 21, Bowser Studio, Fang the Werehog, The Flower Garden, Sammy S, King Toasty, Tetsu Knife, The Might of Gabora, Steph Cube, Speedweed, Saturn Flicky, Mobius, Damien the Hedgehog, Chaos Sonic 1, Ryoku Shion, Zoom, Phelps G, Metamode, Danny the Light, Frost the White Lion, Agnes S, and Wheels 282 Hedgehog.
Although if you ask Sega, fun is infinite.
And Infinite is maybe dead?
Infinite is weak.
That's going to wrap us up for this episode of the BumbleKast. We will see you tomorrow, Saturday the 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the end of the month live Q&A session. Come one, come all, get your questions answered as fast as I can, and ring out the end of the month with all sorts of nonsense.
Sure.
I didn't have a tagline in mind. I'm just kind of rambling.
2 hours of, I don't know. That's what it is.
2 hours of noise coming out of my face. There you go. Anyway, that wraps us up. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you Saturday for the BumbleKast.
See ya tomorrow, unless you're listening to this in the future, in which case, see you. Bye.
I made a freaking fantastic stew, and I want to get back to it.
I'm coming over. I'll be there eventually. Might be cold by then.
I could make it a few times over, but still. I don't know what I did, man, but it came out like perfect. It's a good damn stew.
Sounds good. All right. Here we go. Good old Bumble stew.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with more questions, because the more the merrier.
Darn, I was going to cut off at... It's a good thing it's Morbin time, then. I was going to cut off at that.
You're editing the show. You feel free to do what you want.
I'm going to do that, because I think that's funnier. Lee in the chat says, I live like this. It's like... I mean, you got no one to blame but yourself, Lee.
Oh. You speak boldly because you know she's not listening.
You married into this.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
Are your ear holes empty? Why not try BumbleKast?
It will fill them. Will it be good? We don't know, but you can listen to it.
BumbleKast, the sound you can taste.
You.
Hear the bumble. Taste the bumble.
Yeah. No.
It's gluten and quality free.
No MSG. Only BKG. Let it wash over you in the shower. Because you probably need a shower. It's BumbleKast, a magical sound shower of questions.
BumbleKast shampoo. On this side, I don't feel anything from the competitor. But on the side where I use BumbleKast shampoo, I feel...